Hello, my Math 3 scholars. In this video, we're going to talk about the multiplicity of zeros. And I'm going to explain to you what that means. So let's get the definition. This is your next definition here. The multiplicity of a zero is how often a zero occurs. So this actually should say is. I'll try to fix that. So the multiplicity of a zero is how often a zero occurs. So I'm going to show you this by looking back at this problem C that we worked in a previous video. So I want you to notice that we had the number 0. That 0 only appeared one time. So that means that this 0 has a multiplicity of 1. Okay? That 0 had a multiplicity of 1. And I'm going to write that over here. Had a multiplicity of 1. Okay, and we usually just put MULT period 1. Now, I told you in a previous video we'd talk about this one. This -2 came up twice. So what that means is that -2 has a multiplicity of 2. So -2 occurs twice. 2/5, that's only once. So it has a multiplicity of 1. And 3 only appears once. So it also has a multiplicity of 1. So 3 of my zeros have a multiplicity of 1, and one of them has a multiplicity of 2. Now, that multiplicity means something, okay? So what does that mean? If you have a multiplicity of 1, then that means that when you look at the graph is going to look linear at that 0. It's going to look like a straight line because linear looks like a straight line. If you have a multiplicity of 2, that means that your graph is going to look quadratic, which is going to look like a parabola. So if you need to out here, just put linear line and then do this to indicate a parabola. Okay? Then, if you have a multiplicity of 3, which can occur, that means that your graph is going to look cubic at that 0. Now, we know that cubic can have different ways that it looks, okay? So you can either have a cubic that looks like this, or you could have a cubic that does something like that, okay? So it could depend on what kind of graph it is, but it's going to have a cubic look to it. So that's what it means to have a multiplicity. So however often that 0 occurs, for instance, 0, 2/5, and 3, they only happen once, so they have a multiplicity of 1. But our x equals -2 was twice, so it has a multiplicity of 2. That means that at this 0 right here, if we graphed it, this graph would look quadratic. It would look like a parabola at this point, -2. At the points 0, 2/5, and 3, our graph would look linear. It would look like a straight line at those points, okay? As always, if you have questions, let me know.